What are these patches, this age reversal technology, this photo light therapy? Yeah, so if you want to stop reducing your age, you just take the patch off. You wear them 12 hours a day. First thing you're going to see is a whole lot of energy. Your skin clears up. After a couple of months, you start to see physical changes. You actually start the de-aging process at the cellular level. So we're talking about the repair of your organs. We're talking about ailments that you have potentially being reversed. But we haven't talked about tragic situations, and really how the X39 has been able to help with that. But we have a testimonial, as we do on these X39 testimonial interviews. I have not heard any of this information previous. I want to have a real reaction with all of you that are viewing at home. And that's because I just trust how these X39 patches work. I've seen all of these positive effects in my own self. Julie, who works for the Stu Peters Network, we saw, she just has like no more crow's feet, no more wrinkles. all of these things are going away. Crystal Tini, who's got hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram, she's who led me to all of this. And for that, I'm greatly appreciative. We have Gayla and Sammy with us now, who are joining us with the testimonial. Apparently, Sammy, you are the miracle story from the X39 patch. Gayla is your mom sitting right next to you there. I've been told nothing about what you have. Crystal Tini is the one that set all this up. This is full disclosure here. And she just sent to me, hey, got another X39 story. I think it would be good for the world to hear, for your viewing audience to take a look at. So with that, I just want to hear, what do you have going on? What happened?
Okay, so I've been with the company for 3 years, and back in 22, in December, Sammy had a car accident, and he ran into a pole, and he had to be life flighted. And when we got to the hospital, the doctors were like, well, he's got a brain bleed here, and we're going to observe him. So through that night, nothing really changed. And then the next day, they said, okay, now he's got contusions all over his lungs. He can't breathe. He's got pneumonia. He's got 3 brain bleeds here, 1 brain bleed here, and he's going to have a craniectomy and remove part of his skull.
Now, how long ago was the accident, and how long ago was this?
It was December of 22, so about a year and a half, I guess.
Okay, yep, continue.
Yeah, and so when we got there, I wanted to put the patches on him right away because, I've been with this company at that time about a year and a half, and I've seen miracle after miracle after miracle. But there wasn't a chance for me to do that. I started asking the nurses, can I put these patches on him? And, well, you asked the doctor. Finally, the 3rd day, so the 2nd day they did the surgery, they took part of his skull out. And, of course, you can see that it's back in. They put it back. But when they took it out, they put the skin back. But it was, there was no skull right there. And so he swelled up really big. And finally, the 3rd day, the doctor said, Mrs. Wall, I don't think you understand the severity of this. If your son makes it, you have a long, hard, bumpy road. I said, that's fine. So can I put this patch on him? He said, what is it? And I said, helps your body produce new cells. Okay. And I told him the full word there. And he said, did you say new cells? And I said, yeah. He goes, go put it on his head. And I was like, oh, thank you. So anyway, we put it on the back of his neck because that's where the owner of the company, the inventor, said to put the X39. And then he had 7 other patches that I put on him as well. So the next day he started being able to follow the pencil. Before that, he was brain dead. There was no activity.
Wait a minute. The next day he started following the pencil? No, nothing else that Western medicine had to offer him was responsible for any of this, right? Medically, they didn't do anything for him. The only change was you put the X39 on the back of his neck combined with some other patches.
Yeah, but there was a chance she could come out of it. But it was like this. Mrs. Wall, you don't understand the severity. They did not think he was going to make it. I think that's why they let me put the patch on him to begin with. So anyway, there is a possibility that people have come back from this, okay? Right. But it gets a lot bigger than this. So he's paralyzed on his right side. Totally paralyzed. His eye was going out here. His mouth drooped and saliva would come out. His right arm, his right leg, nothing was moving, okay? So after I thought it was 2 weeks, but as I was looking, thank God the pictures that I took are stamped on the date. And I was reading about carnosine, another patch that we have, and a brain, and what carnosine does in your own body is it regulates your cerebral fluid. Well, he has a lot of cerebral fluid because of all of this inflammation. So I put both of the patches, X39 and the carnosine here. This was, I think, the 26th. So it was 3 days after the surgery, okay, the craniectomy. And when I come in the next day into his room, 6 hours later, Sarah, the nurse, grabbed me. She said, Gayla, Sammy's moving his right side. I said, what? Because they told me he was paralyzed and there's no movement. So, and I'm like, it's fine. He's alive and that's all that matters. So she said, we didn't want to tell you, but the left side of the brain controls the right side of the body. And where he's had this brain, these 3 brain bleeds, there's so much damage that we didn't think he was ever going to be able, we really don't understand why he's moving. I said, are you telling me the left side of his brain where those patches are right there and now his right side's moving? She goes, yeah, what are those patches? And I said, that, ma'am, is called miracle. So that's when I really could see the big picture of what this was going to do for him. And through this whole process, like everything, they told us 2 years, he would still not be working. It's been 1.5 years and he's over right now. We're building him a house with, thanks God to Lifewave and my income. We're building him a house. He's working on the house right now. You can see show him your right hand. So he's completely not paralyzed anymore. And they said his hand would never work. His eye was going out to the right. And so we put the patches here and here. I have a girl that works with me that's an occupational therapist, and she said, put them right here because the ocular muscles. And the neuro eye doctor said that he was going to have to put prism glasses on, but they wanted to wait 1 year, but nothing was getting any better on his eye at all. And he was doing the exercises and everything. So so it's important where you put the patch. See, remember I had the patch back here, but he was still paralyzed. We moved to here where the damage was. The next day he starts moving. So we put the patch here, 5 days, perfectly teaming. As you can see, his eyes are perfectly teaming now. And there is nothing that he can't do. He is completely restored.
Sammy, how old are you?
24.
24. Okay. And so roughly you were 20, 21 years old when your mom started with this company called Lifewave. Mm-hmm. If you are anything like me, when I first heard about this stuff, I said, that's nonsense. Some patches, really? That's what's going to, really? Patches? You're going to stick them on your head and do all this weird stuff? I mean, I'm like, yeah, okay. So were you a skeptic also at first when your mom started this Lifewave journey?
Yeah.
Yeah. How much of a skeptic are you now?
No skeptic.
Yeah. There's nothing left of skepticism. I mean, so they told you, Sammy, that you were going to be paralyzed forever?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, he didn't know that. He was still pretty out of it.
Well, told your mom, right? So, and now there's nothing that you can't do. We've got pictures here. Are you engaged or are you married?
I'm engaged. I'll be married in July.
Congratulations, married in July. This is truly a miracle story. You said that you've seen a lot of these, Gayla.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to share any of those with us? We've got about 5 minutes left here. I just want to know. I mean, let's finish Sammy's story, but then I'd be interested to hear a quick rundown of some of the biggest miracles that you've heard from the X39 patch.
Yeah. So after he got out of the hospital in March, went into acute rehab. That was a miracle. Every place he goes. I mean, the occupational therapist was crying because she said, Gayla, I know what you're doing is great and everything, and I'm so glad, but he's never going to be able to have the strength back in his hand. And the day that his right hand was stronger than the left hand, remember, Kathy, when she said, can I hug you? She started crying because she's like, I've never seen anything like this in my life. I need to know more about these patches. So